Heyo, Lord Roll aka Mega Blitz. In today's video, we're going to be looking at Lost Zone Box. Now, Lost Zone Box has been a deck that's been around for quite some time, having so many different innovations to the deck. We've had Turbo Lost Box, Lost Zone Kyogre, Lost Zone Goodra, Lost Tina, and many others as well. But I feel like Lost Box has been kind of at almost an all-time low as of lately, but I feel like this one particular card from Surging Sparks is going to put this deck back on the map. Now let's jump right in to that deck list. Already here at that deck list, Lost Box, and the card that's going to bring this deck back being Pikachu EX with that Terra ability. If this Pokemon's on your bench, prevent all damage done to this Pokemon by attacks. And then it has an ability, Resolute Heart, which says if this Pokemon has full HP and it would be knocked out by damage from an attack, if it is knocked out, that HP remaining becomes 10. So essentially, you can't one-shot Pikachu EX because it'll just go to 10 HP. With its attack, Topaz Bolt for a Grass, Lightning, and a Metal Energy for 300 damage, you're one-shotting almost everything in the format. Unfortunately, you do have to discard 3 energy from this Pokemon, but to counteract that happening, we are playing 4 Super Rod here in the deck and Night Stretcher as well, with the 4 Mirage Gates for that Lost Zone package. Other than that, the deck is pretty much just your stereotypical Lost Box deck. We're playing the 4 Comfeys to use that flower selecting ability. Look at the top 2, 1 into your hand, 1 into the Lost Zone, and we have 4 Chorus as well. Look at the top 5, 3 to your hand, the other cards of the Lost Zone. And then, of course, we're trying to hit those sweet magic numbers for Lost Box, being that 4 in the Lost Zone for that Cramorant for its ability Lost Provisions. If you have 4 or more cards in your Lost Zone, you ignore all energy attacks for this Pokemon here. And then, of course, 7 for our Mirage Gates. You can only use this card if you have 7 more cards in your Lost Zone. Search your deck for 2 basic energy cards of different types and attach them to your Pokemon any way you like. And then, of course, being 10 for that Lost Mine attack for 1 psychic energy. You can use the attack only if you have 10 or more cards in your Lost Zone. Put 12 damage counters on your opponent's Pokemon in any way you like, which is really helpful because a lot of people, if not everybody, isn't playing Jirachi anymore in their decks. So we're really able to kind of punish that fact now. Now, the unfortunate part is Regidrogo V-Star does pose a really big threat, which we are playing that 1 copy of Manaphy in here to help counteract that Kyurem, because they are going to punish us for playing Course's Experiment. And then, of course, a couple other key cards. We're playing Iron Hands in here to kind of help with that single prize matchup, or just the Lost Box Mirror match, the Gardevoir matchups. Amp you very much on a Squawkabilly or a Luminion for 3 prize cards is pretty huge. We're playing Radiant Greninja in here, not only to attack with, potentially with that Moonlight Shuriken, being able to discard 2 energy from this Pokemon to deal 90 to 2 of your opponent's Pokemon. But concealed cards, discard energy, draw 2. And then Bloodmoon Ursaluna as kind of the final attacker here with this ability Seasoned Skill. Bloodmoon used by this Pokemon, it costs 1 less for each prize card your opponent has taken. So they've taken 5 prize cards. Bloodmoon gets to hit for free, which is really huge, and we can attack with it early on in the game if need be. You could also swap out Radiant Greninja for Radiant Charizard and a Fire Energy if you really want to, but we're already playing 5 different energy types, being 2 Water, 2 Lightning, 2 Grass, 2 Metal, and 1 Psychic Energy, so you have to make sure you're managing your resources efficiently as best you can. Other than that, some other key cards I want to point out. Prime Catcher for the ace spec of choice. It's almost the guaranteed one for any Lost Box deck. We are playing 1 copy of Silene, flip 2 coins, put a number of cards up to heads that you get for your discard pile on the top of your deck, which can be pretty helpful to kind of pair with your Comfeys or your Radiant Greninja and stuff like that. And then we're also playing 3 Pokestop to get our stadiums, and we're playing heavy switch effects, being 4 Switch, 4 Switch Cart for decks like Snorlax Stall, and to be able to kind of get out of an Iron Hands if we started in the active spot, be able to flower selecting as much as we can. But we're also playing 1 copy of Gravity Mountain, which is really going to help out for that Topaz Bolt hitting for only 300 damage. And this says each Stage 2 Pokemon in play, both yours and your opponent's, gets minus 30 HP. Now, I'm looking at Charizard EX, Dragapult EX, Gardevoir EX, all those cards, even Hydreigon EX, a new card from Surging Sparks, all have 330 HP or less. but are above that 300 threshold. So that Gravity Mountain really being able to help out in a pinch for that. And then of course, Pikachu EX being able to hit that number, one-shotting them, but not being able to one-shot it back is pretty huge. So now let's jump right in to that gameplay. Already here at that Pikachu EX Lost Zone box gameplay at the coin flip, we do have heads here, and our opponent is going to go first, which honestly, we actually would like to go second because we can go Comfey, flower selecting into Chorus. Then hopefully we can also get into our Cramorant to be able to spit innocently for 110 damage. And our opponent flips over a Comfey as well here. So we're looking at a Lost Box mirror match of some sorts. Maybe they're also testing that absolutely busted Pikachu EX out in their Lost Box deck. We're going to have to see here. We're going to see that Radiant Greninja come down here, concealed cards. So we are going to want to try to face and try to hunt down that Manaphy for us here, because we do not want a Moonlight Shuriken coming down to be able to take 2 prize cards on to Comfey. Is unfortunate if that does happen for them. So they're going to flower selecting here 2 times on 2 different Comfey here. They're going to bench their own Manaphy and then pass to us here. So we're going to be able to start with a Nest Ball here, just kind of flicking through the deck. We're going to be able to get our Comfey here. We're going to be able to also get the Radiant Greninja, and then we're going to grab the Cramorant. And I'm going to hope that I can try to find my way into our Manaphy just off of the flower selectings and the Chorus on top of that. So we're going to have to see here. We need the Sableye, and we do need the Mirage Gate. We're going to grab Pokestop here, though, and we're going to Switch Cart out of that into another Comfey, and then we're going to get the switch off that flower selecting, play our Pokestop. Going to be able to concealed cards as well here, drawing 2 more cards for a Metal Energy and a Super Rod. Pokestop, rolling, discarding our Manaphy. Unfortunately, should have grabbed it with that Nest Ball, but it is what it is. We're going to be able to spit innocently here for 110 damage, taking the first prize card of the game, putting us at a 5-6 split here, and applying some early pressure. Now, a good counter for what our opponent could do here is go flower selecting, Chorus, find a couple pieces, and try to counter KO with their own Cramorant, because spit innocently does 110 damage. Cramorant has 110 damage. So if they can kind of counter with their own Cramorant spit innocently, that's pretty solid. So we're going to see what our opponent cooks up here. They had that Chorus come down, flower selecting. We see that Lightning Energy go to the Lost Zone here. So maybe we're going to be seeing a Pikachu EX on their side. We're going to have to see. Maybe they're even just playing the Roaring Moon EX build that's still pretty solid from Louisville Regionals. We're going to have to see what they got cooking up here. Going to bench their own Sableye. And then a rescue board out of that into the Cramorant here. Going to be able to counter KO, spit innocently into our Cramorant, which is going to be unfortunate, actually. We weren't really looking forward to that. We don't want that to happen. We want to be able to take maybe 1 to 2 prize cards if you can with your Cramorant, because it's a really great early game attacker, and it's pretty solid for that. So we're going to see what we can cook up on our turn here. Flower selecting coming down. We're going to grab ourselves that Lost Vacuum. We don't really need another Comfey because we're going to try to go for a pretty huge play here. And that play is going to be Iron Hands EX. So we're going to conceal cards, discarding that Water Energy. Draw 2, getting ourselves into that Iron Hands here. Chorus coming down, getting rid of our Comfey and our Pokestop, benching our Iron Hands EX, and we're in a position where now we can Mirage Gate. So Mirage Gate the Lightning and the Psychic Energy, Mirage Gate again for the Grass and the Water to the Iron Hands, putting literally 4 of our 5 energy types on this Iron Hands here. Going to roll that Pokestop and get punished, unfortunately. Going to be getting that Lost Vacuum. So we're going to Lost Vacuum our way their rescue board, and then potentially be able to also Lost Vacuum away our own Pokestop so they can't roll Pokestop. It's a pretty good play, but they play it themselves, so it's not too big of a deal to do right now. But getting rid of that rescue board is pretty huge. And then we're going to amp you very much for 2 prize cards on that Cramorant, putting us at a 3-5 split here. Gonna have to see what our opponent can cook up. Hopefully they don't slam down a Pikachu EX and just one-shot knock out our Iron Hands. They could even go for a play with like Bloodmoon Ursaluna potentially. They could honestly Moonlight Shuriken, discard 2 energies from your Radiant Greninja and KO both Comfeys, or Comfey and Sableye would also be pretty huge for them. But we're going to have to see. They're going to play Chorus, flower selecting, and a concealed cards. But we see that Bloodmoon Ursaluna EX also come down for them on their side of the board. So we're going to have to see what they got cooking up with that Bloodmoon Ursaluna. It will be able to one-shot our Iron Hands EX, unfortunately, hitting for 240 damage. So just 10 more than what they need to KO the Iron Hands. And that would even up the prize trade here with a 3-3 split. They're going to put an energy onto that Comfey here. Going to be able to retreat potentially out of the Comfey into that Bloodmoon Ursaluna. But Super Rod first, coming down, shuffling 3 energies back into the deck, slamming down that Iono, shuffling to the bottom of the deck. We're going to get 3. We got our Pikachu EX here, and then 2 Buddy-Buddy Poffins, which are kind of a dead card at this point in the matchup. We're going to be able to just kind of flower selecting those away, or just burn them out of our hands. To basically just make it so they're not in the deck anymore. So Bloodmoon coming out for our opponent here, taking 2 prize cards, putting us at a 3-3 split. And we're going to have to see what we can cook up on our turn. We do need quite a bit here to get rid of this Bloodmoon Ursaluna. We're going to Buddy-Buddy Poffin, and then we're going to be able to flower selecting here. We're going to be Buddy-Buddy Poffin first, is to not only see if there's anything in the deck, but also to thin. We're going to flower select and get rid of that boss, get to the Mirage Gate. Pokestop coming in clutch here. Nest Ball, we're just going to slam that down. Don't even really need it either. 2 Super Rods is huge for this turn here. So attach the Metal and the Grass to our Pikachu EX. Super Rod in, the Lightning, the Water, and the Psychic. Mirage Gate here coming down. The Lightning to the Pikachu, and then the Water to the Comfey. Retreat out of the Comfey into the Pikachu EX. Play the Buddy-Buddy Poffin just in case for Iono or Roxanne. And then thin the hand a little bit more. Topaz Bolt, discarding all 3 energies, taking a huge knockout on that Bloodmoon Ursaluna EX to take 2 prize cards, putting us at a 1-3 split, getting double Switch Cart off of those prize cards, which could prove to be pretty helpful. If they end up trying to put up a Comfey, maybe Lost Mine around it, we can still Switch Cart and move stuff around and just see what we got going on here. The nice part is we also have quite a bit of different ways we can win here. We can pretty much attack again with Pikachu EX. We could attack the active if it's a single prize Pokemon with Radiant Greninja. We have Lost Mine with Sableye. We could put Cramorant back in the deck. We could put Bloodmoon Ursaluna or Iron Hands back in the deck. But the problem with this comes is we've burned through all 4 Mirage Gates. So our plays are actually going to be either getting Cramorant back in the deck, or our opponent takes more prize cards we KO with Bloodmoon Ursaluna EX, or that Sableye. So we got to see here that Roxanne coming out for our opponent, putting us at 2 cards in hand. And one of those is going to be the Silene. And then we have Switch Cart as well. Just going to have to see what our opponent is going to be cooking up on their turn. They're trying to get the 10 in the Lost Zone, and they're not quite there yet. This is going to put them at 9 cards in the Lost Zone here. So they need to be able to get into that Comfey and flower selecting one more time to be able to pull off a Lost Mine here. We're going to see that Eevee coming down, which does evolve into that new Sylveon EX from the Surging Spark set, which I have seen in quite a bit of Lost Box decks, and I thought about maybe potentially making a video about that card in Lost Box as well. So maybe check that out in the future if that does come to be fruition. I'm going to super rod a couple cards back in here. Mirage Gate, putting a Psychic and a Water Energy to their Eevee, retreating out of that Comfey into the Sableye, but they only have 9 in their Lost Zone, so they're going to only have to scratch for 20. But let's say in a hypothetical world they do Lost Mine here. They can take a KO on our Sableye and maybe put some more damage counters on like Pikachu or Comfey, and it wouldn't matter too much because we have the Switch cards and we can kind of move stuff around. And then we have that Silene hitting double heads here, pretty much locking up the game for us. Switch Cart out of the Pikachu EX, healing that damage, flower selecting, grabbing ourselves that Cramorant here. Gonna be able to bench the Cramorant, Switch Card out of that Comfey into the Cramorant, spit in instantly for 110, taking our final prize card, knocking out that Sableye, and securing us the victory, really showcasing that Pikachu EX has what it takes to not only just turn the game kind of momentum into your favor, but on top of it, just being able to one-shot that Bloodmoon Ursaluna EX, I feel like really put our opponent in a position where like, hey, you can't counter one-shot knockout with your Bloodmoon if you try to put it back in the deck on my Pikachu, because I can just retreat out of it and then you have to deal with it in the future. Being able to take that 2 prize card knockout on that Bloodmoon Ursaluna EX, I felt like was one of the really big key points right next to that Iron Hands Ampy very much play, securing us the victory. Now, let's jump right in to that outro. Alrighty, it's going to do it for today's video. If you guys want content I've been making stuff for the channel, don't forget to leave a like, smash the subscribe button. I would appreciate it. Now, make sure to put the deck list that I played in today's video in the description below, so you guys want to try it out for yourself. You'll be able to, ready for copy paste right into Pokemon TCG Live. And while you're down there, make sure to join the Discord, check out my Twitter as well, and ring the notification bell, because I have been setting up and I've had my first live stream here on YouTube. So definitely want to be able to drop in and check all that out. So with that being said, I'll see you all in the next one. Peace!